Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to be looking at a recent trip we took to North Cornwall and a really lovely estate we stayed on not far from Looe. So we travelled some 300 miles from where we were based in Manchester to our holiday destination in Cornwall, and we stayed on a lovely estate called Kilminorth. On the website featured later in the video, check below for links to the site. This video isn't affiliated or we would be paid for this, just an honest review of a recent holiday we went on. Along the journey from Manchester to Cornwall in our Audi e-tron, we stopped off for an hour or so at one of the Instavolt fast chargers at McDonald's for a top up before continuing on our journey. We find we get a range of around 230 miles, which can vary depending on the weather, so after about 130 miles we stopped to charge just outside Bristol. As you can see, the estate we stayed on was around 5 minutes drive outside of Looe, and you could probably walk it in around 30 to 40 minutes from the accommodation. After the initial turn off the main road, the route down to the site is quite typical of Cornwall and single track lanes, quite narrow, so we took it slow and on the lookout for oncoming cars. There were quite a few twists and turns on the way down. The only advice I would give here is to take note of the signs once you come off the main road and keep going until you get to the Kilminorth sign. I don't think I would like to do this approach for the first time in the dark, so just be worth taking this into consideration from planning plenty of time on your journey. As you can see from the site map, there are around 14 different cottages available with a range of different sizes and amenities, and there's lots of grounds which to cover later on in the video. The kids will never be bored. So the initial approach to the cottages are very welcoming, lots of space, and we had parking directly opposite our cottage we were staying in and was ideally right next to the car charger on the site. As you can see, the site is very picturesque and quaint and is well laid out with an array of different style and size cottages. A number of cottages also have hot tubs, but there's a main outdoor heated pool which you will see later on in the video. There is a main courtyard area. The reception can be found further up on the site and is clearly signposted. In the reception you will find the main team who are lovely and welcoming and can't do more to make your stay enjoyable. So take your time and speak to them. And if you are lucky enough to bring your four-legged friends with you, there are even some dog showers for those moments when those dogs tend to get a little bit mucky. The site also has a laundry room, which we admit we didn't get a chance to use because we had plenty of clothes with us for our week's stay. The car charger on the site was very low kilowatt charger. I found when charging to be getting around 3 to 4 kilowatts an hour, so it often meant I had to plug it in overnight. The team provided a fob for the charger and just settle up before you leave on the final day. The costs were reasonable and we were basically at the same rate that the cost of the electricity was, around 45p a kilowatt hour. So we never had any issues charging other than the availability as more people came onto the site with different electric cars, and we did find on the odd occasion that the charger wasn't always available, but there are alternatives in the local Looe public car park. The outdoor pool was just located further up from the main reception. The pool is an outdoor heated pool, it's very well maintained. Note though that children under 15 need to be accompanied by an adult. There was lots of seating around the pool, and the pool went from 1 metre deep to 1.8 metres deep. There was also changing rooms and a toilet next to the pool, as well as an outside shower which came in very handy. Again, all to a very nice standard, clean and well maintained. Also a nice touch in the pool area provided. There was lots of towels to be able to use, and once you'd used them you could leave them in a basket nearby and they'd be taken away and cleaned and replaced the next day. Our two boys loved being in the pool and used it pretty much every day. It was available from quite early until late, but the only time it closed during the day was when we had torrential rain on one of the days that we stayed there, and it was deemed to be a little bit unsafe because of how slippy it was. overlooks the bar and seating area, which is located close behind it, and the bar is well stocked and open at different points within the week when there may be special events on, such as live singing or the meals. And there is also an open fire pit with seating around, which is very cosy. Just by the bar there are additional outside toilets as well, which are easily accessible. There is lots of seating under the main marquee next to the bar area, and a further large marquee in the grounds, but this is generally used for weddings and we didn't see this during our stay. Overall, the grounds of Kilminorth extends to around 35 acres, which is lots of play areas, trampolines, woodlands, but the main accommodation and service areas are quite a compact area. There was also a nice little paths and routes to follow, and just the opportunity to explore the grounds in general, which you're very much encouraged to do so by the staff. As well as the extensive grounds to explore and play around in, the kids, there are also trampolines, tennis courts, badminton nets, football nets, climbing frames, swings, as well as your typical hills to roll down. Overall, we found the layout of the site great. You weren't tripping over other people who were staying there, and overall we felt very comfortable with the children going off and playing and being left to their own devices. Whilst we were on the site, we stayed in the saddle accommodation, and as you can see from the website, The accommodation and site caters to both holidays and events such as weddings, but it gives you an idea of the different facilities as well as the different levels of accommodation available. As I said earlier, we stayed in Saddle, which is more than big enough for the 4 of us, although we did have a single bed put up in our room for our 4-year-old to stay with us, rather than sleep in the same bed as his older brother. The accommodation is well laid out with features in most rooms such as exposed beams, walls, and the kitchen had most amenities you could want though, although we did struggle with space for food we had brought with us. Just something to think about. There was also a maiden and dustpan and brush. I also thought a nice little touch was a tablet you'll find in the accommodation with information about the accommodation and site, but also useful things like the weather for that day. The kitchen was well equipped with all the usual amenities you may expect from this type of accommodation, lots of utensils, tools, pans, etc. Although we were slightly limited for space, as you can see from the photo, for our own food, which was the only downside we found to the kitchen overall. Bedrooms were light and airy, but be warned, if you're over 6 foot tall like me, you may struggle with some of the rooms and the low beams. I was frequently banging my head, especially in the bathroom. Both the bedrooms had plenty of storage for clothes and other bits, but I'm sure many of you like me live out of the suitcase when you're away. Overall, we had a really enjoyable experience at Kilminorth. The cottages were great, staff were wonderful, really nice setting, and we would really highly recommend it. So, links are in the description at the bottom. Check it out, and hope to see you again in our next video. Thanks for watching. Bye now.